Okay, Robbie here, Dodgy Garage Mobile DPF cleaning. This is a Mazda 6. I think this is a 2.2 and it's the SkyActiv technology vehicle. Customer says the DPF is blocked. So on these vehicles, the DPF pressure sensor is right here, conveniently located. My first concern is that this DPF pressure sensor has recently been replaced, and oftentimes when it says they're made in China is that they don't actually work properly, but we'll have a look at that. And then of course you have the other sensor here, which we will check. That's the upstream of the turbine. There's a pressure sensor there, so it's exhaust pressure sensor, and you want to see that that is engine off, reading around 1020 1040 millibars of pressure. So there's a couple of checks that we need to do, and obviously of the pressure sensor as well. We'll check that out. So let's get inside the vehicle. On these cars, the dongle is right there, easily accessible. I have already dialed into the car and brought up the information that I'm looking for. So there is a thing: distance since last DPF regeneration 703 kilometers. This car, I've been speaking with the owner, is doing short trips, and as a result, I think that's probably the reason that it's blocked up. There you have your exhaust pressure sensor. Okay, it's where it should be, and when you start up the engine, typically you want to see it at around 1200 HPA. That's this guy here. And then obviously your exhaust gas differential pressure at idle, you want to see that between 0 and 10. So let's have a look. Start the car up. Just wait for the revs to come down a bit. But that differential pressure over here, that's hectic. Okay, the car's revs are dropping down to an idle. And now the gas differential pressure, we're at 90-ish. You want that between 0 and 10. And this guy here is at 1200, 1300. When you rev it up, you want to see this guy go straight up and come straight down. So, and that's behaving normally, so that's fine. So it seems to me that on this vehicle, distance since last trouble codes cleared right at the top, the 143 kilometers. Someone's clearing codes. But the main thing is their distance since last DPF regeneration 703. It seems to me that it is a case of short trips, and he's told me that he has recently moved, and he's now no longer doing longer trips, and I think that's probably what's going on here. So we're just going to go into the trouble code so I can show you, and there you have it. Particular filter regeneration duration. So that means one of two things: either the vehicle is trying to regenerate too regularly, or it's not getting the opportunity to regenerate. As a result, you get that particular filter restriction, sort of accumulation. And then a important code here: throttle, actuator, control motor, current, range, performance. I have informed the customer that that's probably going to have to be taken out and cleaned out. It's going to have to be looked at by a workshop, not me here today. I'm just doing the DPF cleaning. So the next thing is I'm going to hook up my cleaning equipment to the DPF, and I'll show you how that works in a minute. Okay, then one of the checks that I do is to actually test this DPF pressure sensor. I opened it up there. Ooh, yes, I can feel the air coming out here. There's a lot of air. So what I do is I test it with this manometer just to see if this pressure sensor is working correctly. What I'm looking for is a similar reading on my manometer here to what I'm getting on that pressure sensor inside the car, and that's reading correctly. It was in around 80 millibars of pressure, and here we're getting 81. So that tells me that this pressure sensor over there is actually telling the truth, so that's good. Okay, so we're back in the car. We're just going to start the car up, let it idle, and then push the fluid, the cleaning fluid, into the vehicle. And there you see it's going to probably give us a DPF warning there as well. It's just got some, there we go, soot accumulation, DPF too high. So we'll sort that out. Right, let me show you. I've got my cleaning fluid in the gun there, connected into that pipe there on the DPF, and with the engine idling we just push it in. Okay, that's it. All the chemicals are in, and if you take a look around here at the back, there's quite a lot of stuff coming out of the back of that car. But now we switch the car off, and we switch the engine off and give it half an hour. So we're at 8:40, so at 9:10 then we'll start her up again and see how we go. Alright, the next thing that you've got to keep an eye on in these cars is the maintenance, because these cars are very interested in making sure that the oil changes, that the oil service interval is maintained. If that's not maintained, then it switches off DPF regeneration. So that's fine, that's good. The next thing is we are at time, so we're going to start the car up and we're going to look at the gas pressure, exhaust gas pressure. Let's have a look here. We're just going to bring up the graph if we can. All right, start her up. And then we've got to bring the revs up a little bit. We're now at at idle 110 millibars of pressure. HPA millibars, same thing. We're going to bring the revs up to 2.5. We're now at 380, and we want to see that dropping. I'm going to keep the revs at 2.5. Don't rev it up till it's warmed up a little bit. Okay, so there we're coming to the 200. We've gone past 200. It's working out okay for the moment. I'll show you again in a moment. Okay, so what I've done is I've taken this my scanner here, and I've put it on the roof of the car. We've got the engine revs at 2,400, and the exhaust pressure is already at 55-ish, and temperature's not quite where we want it to be yet, and we haven't got much smoke or anything coming out of the back here yet, so we've got to wait for this. Okay, just a quick look at what's going on here. Engine temperature, we're at 84, so that's getting hot. Pressure 70 at 2,500. That's a bit high, and the temperatures are getting hot, but let's have a look and see what it looks like with an idle. I've got that little guy in there, so I don't have to sit. Let's see what it looks like at idle. Okay, and at idle we are at 13, which is a little bit high. You want that between 0 and 10. So what I haven't done yet is sometimes on these cars, believe it or not, only when you've told the car that it's got a new DPF does it actually drop those pressures right down. But what I'm going to do as well is test with the manometer again to see if that pressure there correlates with the manometer. I'll show you how that works. Okay, so I've plugged in the manometer. The engine is idling. I plugged it in over there, and the reading we're getting there is 14.5 ish. We want that between 0 and 10. So the information that we're getting inside the car does correlate with this manometer reading, so it is correct. Okay, so we are going for a test drive, and I want to see the engine coolant temperature get hot, and I want to see these exhaust gases temperatures getting hot as well, because what I want to see is that exhaust differential pressure drop right down. I'm hoping that this car is going to go into regeneration mode, because I've told it that it's got a new DPF. So we'll look at these. If there's any changes here, I'll let you know. Okay, so after a drive, we're still at 84 degrees Celsius. The differential pressure there is remaining at between 14 and 16 millibars HPA, same thing. The temperatures did get up to 380 odd, but that pressure there is a little bit too high, so I think that this DPF is at the end of life. The other thing, of course, is that this fault code has returned to do with the throttle actuator and control motor, so that's going to have to be looked at by another mechanic. So for the moment, that's it. That's as far as we can go with this one. See you in the next one. Okay, so what I wanted to show you is I've had another customer who had a problem with a Mazda, and he was around 100,000 miles and had a very similar pressure reading, and he decided to have walnut cleaning on the intake manifold, because these Mazdas suffer terribly. And so what I've done is I've brought up the pictures on my computer here at home. This is what it looks like. This is before the walnut cleaning. That is properly carboned up. This guy had it all cleaned out. That, believe it or not, is the EGR. And this next picture is once the EGR has been cleaned. That's what it should look like. And that's what it looked like before. So these Mazdas have a problem with intake manifold carbon buildup. As you can see there, that's now all being cleaned. And then this is your, this guy here is your EGR cooler. I think he actually bought a new one. I don't think that was cleaned. He bought that new, all the gaskets new, and that's what it looks like, clean, back on the engine, back on the motor. And as a result, his car is now running fine. The DPF did not need to be replaced. We put another cleaning through it, and the pressures went all the way back down to, I think, 1 or 2 millibars of pressure. So if you have a Mazda and the pressures are high, I expect this is what you're going to have to do. The guy told me that to have the intake manifold walnut blasted and cleaned, including all the new gaskets, and I think the EGR cooler as well, was £850. If I stand to be corrected, but I think that's what it cost him. So for that Mazda, I expect that's probably going to be the next step. This has got to be done. It's an inherent problem with them. So there we go. That's for your information. See you in the next one.